Hi everyone, I'm Mahmoud, and this is my story. I am returning to Egypt after a long absence of 7 years living in Europe. I have finally come back to build my life in Egypt, among my family whom I haven't seen for a long time, and my friends. I am full of hope and energy. There is nothing better than being among one's family and friends. But wait, this is not the truth. The truth is that I am returning because I failed to obtain a worker's residency 3 times. This wasn't my fault. It really wasn't my fault at all. I was working at a small car repair center in Sweden, owned by a family, and I didn't get the residency because I was relying on them to handle my paperwork. I was just focused on my work, really focused. They told me, give the documents to the company's accountant. Don't worry, he'll take care of your residency. And I trusted them completely. They were so nice. The center was owned by a family. The father, who was originally a chef, not a mechanic, and his 2 sons. The younger one, Yusuf, worked at the biggest car dealership in Sweden. He was actually the one who founded the whole project. It was his idea. Smart guy, really loved his job. I looked up to him. The older brother was called Robber. At first, he worked in shipping companies. One day, Yusuf told him, quit your job, come work on this project with me. And he gave him a share of the profits on one condition, that he be present at the shop regularly, because Yusuf himself wouldn't be able to come in every day. And yes, his name is actually Robber. When I first heard it, I thought he was a rapper. Turns out, no, that's just his actual name. Anyway, I trusted the accountant, whose name was Iyad. After 4 months of working, I got an appointment at immigration, and I was so pumped thinking I'd finally get my residency. I went to the appointment, and boom, the officer says, you don't have insurance. I was like, what? No insurance? So I called Iyad, and he was like, don't worry, I'll take care of the insurance. I was secretly thinking, are you kidding me? I know I need insurance, but how come I don't have it? I tried to keep my face all cheerful and smooth, like, all right, Iyad, no worries. What's next? He said he'd call me back in a bit. Then I called Robber, the older brother. I told him, and he was like, leave it to me. I'll sort out the insurance, just focus on your work. I was so happy because, honestly, I didn't know anyone in Sweden, and I saw them like family. Anyway, a week later, while I was working, Robert came up to me and said, Mahmoud, I got you insurance. I was like, for real? With the biggest goofy smile on my face. He goes, yeah, but you're not officially working for us. You're our brother. Still, we'll deduct the insurance fee from your salary every month. I said, no problem at all, whatever you need. I was so happy, I just went back to work, all energized. Then, a month later, I got my salary. And yep, it was less. I went to Rabber, and he said, yeah, insurance is running. After 4 months, we'll apply again for your residency. So every month, they kept deducting for the insurance. 4 months passed, we applied again for the work permit, and this time I had 2 insurance documents with me. But the decision takes time, so for another 5 months, they kept deducting for the insurance. That's 9 months of deduction, just saying. Finally, I got a letter from migration telling me to come check the decision. I was like, all right, this is it. No more issues. I'm getting the residency now. 100%. I went to the migration office, and the officer looked at me and said, your application was rejected. I just froze like, what? Why? I did everything right. I had the insurance papers and everything. He just said, check your documents again. I left the place all confused and upset. Went to Rabber and told him, I got rejected. Rabber, did you get for me insurance? He was like, yeah, you don't believe me? When he said that, I didn't hesitate at all because, honestly, he's been good to me. They've all been good to me. I told him, I don't know. He replied, this is a country that doesn't care about people who work hard and focus on their job. I'll figure out what's the issue and let you know. You just focus on your work. I paused for a moment, then said, all right, fine. Later, their father left the project, and I didn't even know why he was in it in the first place since he was a chef. Anyway, he decided to leave the project and open a restaurant. So it was just Robert and Yusuf left in the business. Robert and Yusuf told me, "We'll apply again and see what the issue is. You just focus on your work." I was like, "All right, cool." A short while later, I found myself working alone in the place. Robert and Yusuf just weren't showing up. Turns out they had a falling out because Robert wasn't coming around much. So Robert decided to sell his share of the business to Yusuf. That's when I got to know Hassan. Hassan had been Yusuf's work buddy for years, and Yusuf offered him to become a partner in the workshop. So cool, lots of changes going on. The company's name was changed too, since it used to be under Robert's name. Now, it was officially Yusuf and Hassan's place. And they decided to fire Iyad because apparently he wasn't doing a good job as the company's accountant. Insurance-related messages started coming straight to my phone, and immigration stuff too. Then, one day, while I was working, I got a message from the insurance office saying, "You haven't paid insurance in 10 months. You need to pay now." I was like, what? Then what are those salary deductions every month for? How is this even happening? Something's off. Anyway, I went to Yusuf like, "Brew, what's up with this?" I told him everything that happened. He goes, "Wait, let me call Robert and check what's going on." Turns out, Robert had been deducting insurance money from my already tiny salary every month and wasn't even paying the insurance. All that time, I thought everything was being paid on time like a good citizen. So then Yusuf and Hassan sat down with me. Yusuf was like, "I didn't know, but I'll fix it. We'll pay the insurance and apply again. You just focus on your work." And honestly, I believed him. Yusuf was like a brother to me. I looked up to him, for real. I'd never seen anything shady from him, and he was always straight up with people. I said, "All right, cool." So we applied for the permit again. 4 months later, while I was still in the waiting phase, there were elections, and boom, Sweden got a new government. They decided to raise the salary threshold for work permit applications. And I didn't even meet the old threshold. But since I'd applied before the new rule, I still had hope. What else could I do anyway? Then Yusuf and Hassan came to me and said, "We'll raise your salary so you can get the permit, because you're one of us. But you'll give us the extra money back every month. Your salary stays the same, just focus on your work." I was actually happy they'd do that for me. But time was running out. So we adjusted the salary, sent the new documents to the migration office. But shortly after, I got a message saying I had to come in for an interview. I went there nervous as hell, but I'd done everything right. All my papers were clean. But no. Third rejection. They told me I had to leave Sweden and go back to Egypt, and that I could reapply after 1 year. I was devastated. Because if I went back to Egypt, I probably couldn't come back, thanks to the mandatory military service. Anyway, what's done is done. So now I'm back in Egypt. Nothing I can do. But hey, after 7 years, I finally get to see my family and my friends again.